You guys are good to go.
Okay, good. I'm going to start the meeting now. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Iacilli.
Present.
Councilman Pell.
Present.
Councilman Martell.
Present.
Thank you. I move to approve the minutes of the regular town board meeting that was held on October 28th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
The following communications have been received in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the Village of North Haven, a notice of adoption, Board of Trustees of the Freeholders and Commonality of the Town of Southampton, 2026 adopted budget filing. Correspondence of emails and letters have been received regarding the following: cannabis development on Route 27, CPF designation of Poxabog Field, Sagaponic, notice of intent to sell number 604 Airy Way in East Quogue, proposed change of zone application for Mariner Housing LLC, Majors Path, Southampton. Bid and request for proposals were received on October 29th for a bid for activity vehicles. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you. Well, that brings us to the public hearings, and there are 7. So, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the first public hearing?
Public hearing number 1, to consider amending Town Code, Chapter 8, Budget, to override the tax levy limit established by General Municipal Law, Section 3-C.
Walk-ons. Oh, yeah. Kathleen, excuse me for a minute. I need to read the walk-ons.
Sure, Madam Supervisor.
I do have some walk-ons that I'd like to add to the agenda. The first is Town Board Resolution ID number 51504 to amend the 2025 adopted budget for emergency school meal assistance. The second is Town Board Resolution ID number 51509 to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with the Long Island Community Foundation for Feed the Need program. The third is Town Board Resolution to ID number 51520, which is the warrant, number 21. And the fourth walk-on is Town Board Resolution ID number 51533 to authorize the commencement of an enforcement action seeking injunctive relief and other relief against appropriate parties in Suffolk County Supreme Court relating to the use and occupancy of 1533 County Road 39, Southampton, more particularly described on the Suffolk County tax map number as indicated. So I move to add those walk-ons to the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you for your patience. Kathleen, please come back.
Thank you. For the record, Deputy Town Attorney Kathleen Murray. Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor and members of the Town Board. This is the second public hearing as it relates to the proposal to override the tax cap. As you know, the property tax cap establishes a limit on the annual growth or increase of property taxes levied by local governments and school districts up to 2% or the rate of inflation, whichever is less. By its terms, the tax levy cannot exceed the cap unless 60% or majority of this town board approves such an increase by a duly adopted local law pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 3C. I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have. With you today also is your Town Comptroller, Dorothy Godlewski. If the board is so inclined, there is a resolution of adoption on the agenda for your consideration.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Does the board have any questions?
No.
I don't have any cards for this public hearing. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
I do want to say this is something that is not something that the town does lightly, and we've really considered the implications of this, but as Kathleen mentioned, the rising costs of healthcare and pensions, the need to create new positions and fund salary increases to retain employees, to put funds in the operating budget to fund infrastructure repairs such as paving and drainage. It's all necessary to create a sustainable path for the future of the town. All right, so if there's no other comments, then I move to close the first public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the second public hearing?
Public hearing number 2, to consider any increases proposed in the maximum amount to be expended annually in the Town of Southampton Special District.
Thank you, board members. This is also a second public hearing pursuant to New York State Town Law, Article 12A. This public hearing is to consider public comments as it relates to any increases proposed in the town's special district budgets for 2026. Both myself and their comptroller are here to answer any questions you may have. And again, if this board is so inclined, there is a resolution of adoption for your consideration on the agenda later today.
Thank you. Anybody on the board have any questions? I don't have any cards from the people present. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to be heard?
I have one hand up.
Okay, then I move to close the second public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the third public hearing?
Public hearing number 3 on the 2026 preliminary budget.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. This is your third public hearing as it relates to your 2026 budget. This public hearing is pursuant to New York State Town Law, Section 108, and is to consider public comments as it relates to the overall 2026 operating preliminary budget. Again, both myself and Dorothy Godlewski, your town comptroller, are available to answer any questions. And again, if the board is so inclined, there's a resolution of adoption on the agenda later today for your consideration. Does the board have any questions?
Are there any comments or concerns? I don't have any cards on this, so Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak on this third public hearing?
No, there's not.
Okay. Then I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the fourth public hearing?
Public hearing number 4, to consider amending Town Code, Chapter 330-163, Organization and General Procedure of Zoning Board of Appeals, and Chapter 330-181, Organization of Planning Board, to reduce the terms of zoning board and planning board members from 7 years to 4 years.
Thank you, members of the town board. The purpose of this local law is to reduce the term of zoning board and planning board member appointments from 7 years to 4 years, and thus appoint or reappoint, as the case may be, members to 4-year terms. This local law will not interrupt any current member's term. You may recall that you saw this law earlier in October. Since then, that initial version has been revised to keep the stagger of appointments in place as much as possible, which addresses concerns from both this board as well as your planning board. By way of this amendment, and to the extent necessary, this local law shall supersede New York State Town Law, Section 267, Sub 5, and 271, pursuant to Municipal Home Rule Law, Sections 1012A1 and 1012D3, to establish terms that are less than 7 years. We have received correspondence from the Suffolk County Planning Commission noting that this is a matter for local determination, and your planning board has indicated its support for this change. If the board is so inclined to close the public hearing, there is a resolution of adoption on the agenda later today for your consideration. Does the board have any questions for me?
No, I just want, thank you for pointing out that the planning board did have a concern about the staggering, which is why we pulled the resolution and you reworked it. Thank you very much for your help on that. And so now there will be rules in place for the stagger, so not everyone will come up for reappointment at the same time. I don't have any cards for this public hearing, but Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to be heard?
I have one hand up.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Meredith.
I'm Meredith Berkowitz, here on behalf of the Bridgehampton Civic Association. I just had one, actually, it's just a question. I was looking through the revised provisions of the code, and I just didn't quite understand the staggering, because some of the members of the current boards were appointed with 7-year terms, right? So you're not shortening those terms, or you are shortening some of those terms?
No, we're not shortening anyone's terms. It's when they come up for reappointment. They'll be
That you're going-
reappointed in a staggered way. Not everyone in this first reappointment will get the 4 years. Some will get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and then when they come up for the next round of appointments, it'll be on the 4 year. Is that accurately?
It is, Madam Supervisor, and if I just may address what I think the speaker is referring to, particularly in Section 330-163F1, A, there is one member who has already been appointed for a 7-year term. So we are codifying that individual keeps that 7-year term. No other members have received that 7-year term, but we are not shortening any terms by way of this amendment. So I believe that may answer the question from the caller.
It does. That was my question. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
Thank you for coming in. All right, well, if there's no other comments, then I'll move to close the 4th public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 5th public hearing?
Public hearing number 5, to consider historic landmark designation of the site recognized as the Nathan Topping Cook Family Home located at 439 Hayground Road, Bridgehampton.
Good afternoon. Kelly Doyle, Assistant Town Attorney, for the record. You may want to call number 5 and 6 together because those are related public hearings, and they both have to do with the Nathan Topping Cook Family Home at 439 Hayground Road in Bridgehampton.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 6th public hearing as well?
Public hearing number 6, to consider a request to extinguish a town-owned development right in relation to a carriage house proposed to be designated as a town landmark at 439 Hayground Road, Bridgehampton.
So you already had 2 work sessions regarding this topic. One was to discuss the historical significance of the property, and one was to talk about the extinguishment of the town-owned development right. So I will try to be brief. I won't go over all those details again. So this is a property, it's about 1.1 acres, 439 Hayground Road in Bridgehampton. This property contains a historic 2-story framed house. It is known as the Nathan Topping Cook Family Home. It was constructed in about 1700s, and it belonged to the Cook family, who were some of the earlier settlers in the region. There is a report on file prepared by Ed Wesnowski that is a pretty extensive report, talks about all the history of the property. This house does meet 4 out of the 5 criteria for landmark designation under the town code. And it is the property owner that has applied to landmark this property and take advantage of the density incentive provision in Town Code Section 330-9A. They would like to retain the historic structure as a carriage house and then construct another main dwelling on the property. The new main dwelling would meet all of the setbacks pursuant to the code, except that the Zoning Board of Appeals did grant a variance for the lot size to allow a size of 47,545 square feet, where a minimum of 60,000 would have been required for the principal dwelling and the carriage house. And there is an aerial photo right here. That's the property. And the applicant's attorney is here to speak as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Carl Benacasa, 860 Montauk Highway, Watermill, New York, for the applicant. I don't really have much more to add beyond what Kelly said. I can tell you that during our public hearings with the zoning board, there were many members of the public that spoke in support of this application for preserving this important structure. Again, it's a rather large crowd, so I'm not going to go through all the landmark board's findings, but you certainly have them. I would note there is on the side of the home opposite the street, it's not visible from the street, there's an improved outdoor shower and a shed that have been added far subsequent to the original home, aren't historic in nature. We are going to be asking for a certificate of appropriateness to remove those 2 structures. We've already talked about that with the town attorney's office. And of course, that would be in the purview of the Landmarks Board. But otherwise, we received that variance for lot area from the zoning board. We've met all the conditions for landmarking and under the town code, and you have the referral from the Landmarks Board recommending that you accept this landmarking and extinguishing development right. I have nothing more to add. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Carl or Kelly?
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
I don't have any cards for this public hearing, but Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak for public hearing number 5 or 6?
I have one hand up.
All right, thanks. Bring them on.
Hi, Meredith Berkowitz again from the Bridgehampton Civic Association. I just wanted to say that we at the Civic Association fully support the designation of this home as a landmark and the extinguishment of the development right to accomplish that. We want to thank this board very much for your efforts to support historic preservation of our homes in Bridgehampton, and also thank you to the owners for all of the efforts to make sure that this house was in fact preserved for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your support and that of the Civic. All right, well, if there's no other comments, then I move to close the 5th public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And I move to close the 6th public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 7th and final public hearing of the day?
Hearing number 7, to consider adoption of the annual CPF pilot payment plan 2025-2026 tax year.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, Jackie Fenlon, Director of Community Preservation Department, and hello, council members. We are here before you today because we did set a CPF payment pilot plan, which we are proposing to stick with for the for the tax year of 2025 and 2026. This is a property, this is essentially making districts whole. So this is school districts, fire protection districts, as well as ambulance districts. So this is to determine the lost property tax revenue from lands made wholly exempt as a result of their acquisition by federal, state, or local governments for the preservation of community character. This is defined in subdivision 4 of section 64E in New York State Town Law, as well as section 140. This is for school districts and protection districts that show an extraordinary financial hardship. So we have proposed, and we are sticking with the plan, for a tax rate of school districts that have $5 per 1,000 of assessed valuation, but we are excluding those school districts possessing a total assessed valuation of $5 billion or more. And this would apply to fire protection and fire districts and ambulance districts with a tax rate equal to 50 cents per 1,000 of assessed valuation. So that is what the town board has determined as an extraordinary financial hardship. So this is sticking with the districts that have already received funding. This was first established in 23-24. It carried through 24 to 25. But I do want to remind the public that this is a voluntary program that the town board chooses to participate in. And this is to help, offset taxes from property that's been removed from the tax rolls. So we are here if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jackie. As long as we're able to do so, the board is inclined to do this. We're very fortunate to have a healthy community preservation fund, and we don't want, it's nice, as you said, to be able to provide the funding to the schools that are losing the tax revenue from the properties that we preserve. Does anybody have any questions for Jackie?
Yeah, the payment in lieu of taxes, this is a very important program that we have, and I want to say that it's not just properties that CPF has purchased, it's ones that we had acquired prior, and also county parkland, pretty much anything that's preserved within the borders of those school districts.
Yes, any property that's wholly exempt, so that's federal, state, county, and local properties, so not just CPF acquired properties. So that is a very good point. And I did want to say that this is capped not to exceed 10% of the CPF revenues for the last 12 months that we've received. So we are not getting to that point of the cap, but we are also getting very close. So I did want to make the town board aware of that. I'm seeing the figures for 25 and 26, and we are very close to that 10% threshold. So I just want everyone to be aware of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, I don't have any cards for this public hearing. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak?
No one on Zoom.
All right. Well, if there's no other comments, then I move to close this public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Dan. All right, well, that brings
Thanks,
us to the public portion. And I know there's a lot of people here that wish to speak tonight, so I ask you to please keep your comments to 3 minutes so everyone can have an opportunity to be heard. The first card is Ryan Abramson.
Good afternoon. Ryan Abrahamson. I'm the Southampton Town CSA Unit President. Just over a year ago, we were out on the front steps protesting the $3,000 higher wage increases given only to the admin employees, not town-wide. The message from the town was we are piercing the tax cap to help our employee retention. Admin titles do not have the problem with retention that our union titles do. In the last 3 years, we have hired 17 automotive equipment operators, 13 clerical positions, 7 public safety dispatchers, and other assorted titles with a total of 100 hired over the last 3 years. We have a retention problem. It's over 25% of our union titles in this township. The supervisor came outside and stated, we took care of the admin this year, and we will take care of the union next year. Yet here we are a year later, and salary increases in the Town Board Resolution 2025-1352, they're getting another $3,000 for 9 different people. Mark Breger, the Deputy Superintendent of Highway, has been given $29,000 in increases since 2022. That's over $7,000 a year for one single position. Union employees have a history of being told the town has finite finances, but it's evident when it comes to the admin titles, the money is always available. Now, council members, the CSA at every level, between us, the county, the state, we're all watching. All of your votes on every single one of these resolutions and what comes forward for us as well. 2026 could be a big year for us, for you alike, and our future with our employment in the town of Southampton. Thank you.
I don't get to say anything. Well, just to say that we are negotiating with the union, and things seem to be going very well, at least from our perspective. I thought he felt the same way too. But we'll hope to wrap it up by the end of the year, and then everyone will see what the salary increases are going to be. So now, there's a lot of cards here, and I think most people are going to want to speak about the situation with ICE. So I just wanted to say that we welcome this civic participation, and we're glad that you're all here to speak with us, and your presence is just an indication of how caring the people in our community are for others. I understand there's concern and anxiety because of the ICE activity that we saw in Hampton Bays and West Hampton last week, and the most difficult part is that there's no clear, accurate information coming our way. We've been informed by Chief Kiernan that ICE does not notify the police department before they come. We don't know when they're coming. But if they did ask for our assistance, we would not help unless they provided us with a signed warrant from a judge. I would certainly wish there was more cooperation from the federal authorities, and I'll plan to, and perhaps with the support of the board as well, send a letter to our federal representatives, Senator Schumer and Congressman Lilloda, and ask them to provide us with more information for when these types of things happen, so we're not in the dark. The families who live and work here, they're part of the fabric of our schools, our economy, and our neighborhoods, and we are safer and stronger as a community when people feel secure enough to go to work and send their children to school and seek help when they need it. And while immigration enforcement is a federal matter outside the jurisdiction of this town government, that does not mean that we're indifferent or powerless. We'll continue to do what we can, where we can, within the limits of our authority by supporting the families and sharing resources and working with community groups like OLA and SEPA Mayor. So I just wanted to go on record as saying those things before we get started, and now you're welcome to all come up one at a time. I'll call the names and we'll have a few minutes for each.
Can I just jump in before that happens?
On this matter?
No, I'm what the gentleman just said before.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah, before we get started.
Charlie McCardle, Highway Superintendent. as an elected official, I get to wear two hats. One is a resident and one is an elected official. I just want to comment on, I've never heard in my career, over 40 years of being involved in labor, has anybody actually stood up here while they're in secret negotiations to discuss what's going on in negotiations. Totally out of line, totally wrong. And to defend Mark Brager, everyone on this board knows what he does. And for years, the position was underfunded and currently is being funded, and he does a great job. That's all I have to say.
He
Thank you.
does a great
Thanks,
job.
Charlie.
Thank you,
Yes.
Charlie.
He cares about the community.
All right, so I'll read it in the name, and then for the next speaker, so in case they're in the other room or you want to line up, the first is Lori Werner, and then Emily Waits.
Good morning. I know some of you. One question was answered to me that the police did not know. I had the worst experience. I'm a 53-year resident of Hampton Bays, and I had the worst experience a week ago that I could ever comprehend. To any of people are in the audience today that are Latino, my heart goes out to every single one of you because I was nervous. I was at what's called the Conversation Cafe that's run by Ola and by Corazon de Maria at St. Rosalie's. It was a wonderful 6-week program. I speak Spanish, not fluently, but the goal was to practice my Spanish, improve my Spanish, and Spanish women and men that were there would do the same thing conversely. It meets every Wednesday at 11:40. We were there last week, and it was canceled. It was canceled because they said ICE was in West Hampton. And they said they thought they were on their way. I'm going to talk fast because I want to say what happened to me. That they were on their way on Montauk Highway to convene at the Hampton Bays Fire Department. So my sister and I, we're curious. So we said, let's go see what's going on. So we drove to the Hampton Bays Fire Department down Good Ground Road. I was shocked, literally shocked. And I'm saying that word loudly and strongly. We went in, and we counted 8 cars, SUVs, more like almost SUVs, a lot more coming, and they were all parked there. They were all getting out of their cars and going into their trunks, and we were there, no further than where you are, and they were getting out of their trunks, and they were taking out bulletproof vests and guns, and I mean big guns. They looked like handguns. I mean, they were gigantic. You see now, talking about it, I was shaking. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my goodness gracious, I can't believe this. In my town? So there was one man, ICE, he looked a little like he had some humanity in him, and my sister rolled down the window, and she said to him, if you have any humanity in you, this must be a hard job. And he said, it is. So then we turned around and we came out and we went back to Good Ground Road and we went around again. We went around again. And I mean, more cars were coming, little black ones, Fords and Chevys, all blacked out. The bakery, my sister and I have gone into that bakery for
30
pastries.
seconds.
For pastries. They were following a man down Montauk Highway. They went through the front door of the bakery with loaded guns. I could have been sitting there eating or having tea. This has got to stop.
Thank you. And the next, I don't know. Leal, OPP, looks like the last name.
Leah.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a Sag Harbor resident, and I also just wanted to come and express my solidarity with the Latin American community.
Could you state your last name also, please?
Emily Weitz,
Thank you.
W-E-I-T-Z. I went to West Hampton last week when I heard that the ICE raids were happening there, and went to the first location, and it was calm, Panera Bread, everything was normal. Went to the second location, and it was calm, and I was almost thinking, maybe it's nothing, maybe this is actually going to be okay. And then I went to the third location, the second 7-Eleven in West Hampton, not the big one, but a second one. And I pulled in, and there were 6 or 7 ICE vehicles there, different vehicles, not official vehicles, but a bunch of ICE agents standing around in a circle, and a few civilians standing and filming. And so I got out, and I just wanted to bear witness. And so I started filming too, and, didn't really know what was going on, heard some people saying, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to our community? And I'm just watching, and then I realized that there were people in one of the vans, and they loaded them into another van, and before my eyes, they took them away, these people who they had no probable cause, and they took them, and then I stood there waiting for another hour to see if they would do anything else, and these ICE agents were just standing around talking. But every time we tried to reach out and ask them something, it was as if we were not there. And I've worked with the local police in many different ways over the years as a journalist, as a resident, and we have always had a really trusting relationship. I know Ola has always had a great relationship with the local police department, and I know that it's a really hard time to figure out where our power is, but we can't let this happen to our community. The most striking moment for me in that whole thing, after we watched these 2 men be taken away and their lives completely destroyed, one of the ICE agents came over, he yelled at me for standing too close to his car. I stepped back from his car, and then he walks over with his giant gun and everything, and he's looking at his car, and he just says, there's a scratch on my car. And he looks at me like I'm going to empathize with him, like, you poor guy. There's a scratch on your car. You just destroyed 2 men's lives. And I just want to express my solidarity with the Latin American community.
Thank you. Hi, and Leah, and then next is Hope Sandro.
I'm Leah Mason Oppenheimer. I've been a resident of Sag Harbor for 30 years. My husband's the local physician in Sag Harbor. I've been a teacher, educator, head of the Hebrew school, you name it, I've done it. I'm now a social organizer and educator at a children's museum. I've worked and organized with the Latin community for the last 15 years. I've watched a whole group of kids and families grow up. I'm now working on college prep programs, mental health programs, early literacy programs, and other stuff, lots of stuff. We run a food pantry as well to support working families. I have to tell you, something is often forgotten about these people who are citizens. The children are all United States citizens, probably 90%. A letter, Ms. Moore, with great respect that you will write that letter, a letter does not protect those children. I don't understand why the local school districts haven't been invited to this meeting. I don't understand why there isn't a concert of town officials working together to protect these children. I walked into my writing class, which is taught by Mary Ann Callender, who used to work at Canios, and we sat down with the teens in her class, and I said, what's the hardest thing about ICE right now, being here for you? All of them are citizens, these kids. All of them are straight A students. All of them are going to go to very good colleges. The kids, to a person, said, it's because we worry about our families all day. We don't know if they'll be home when we get there. Now, of course, clearly this is a somewhat exaggerated fantasy, and they are 16 and 17 and 15, but it's real to them, and it's real to their parents. And most of their parents have plans of how the kids will manage if they get deported or if something happens and they're separated for a while. But a plan just makes it worse in some ways and better in others. And do you know what the saddest part of this is? Is so often with these kids, I've seen a year of anxiety turn into a depression, and a depression turn into school absence or pregnancy or some other form of horrible acting out behavior.
30
and you know
seconds.
what, guys? There's no mental health services here to pick up the pieces. It's all of us, Ola, Leah, Sepa Mujer, the schools when they can, pick up the pieces, and we can't do a very good job. So guys, if you really want to help these families, step forward and start fighting for more services in the Hamptons.
Here, here.
Thank you.
After Hope, it's Bridget, Mayor.
It's great to see our community come together to have this really important discussion. I know how hard it is to take time for our work to appear here, so I want to thank everyone else that's also come to give support to our neighbors. My husband and I live in Shinnecock Hills. I'm here in support of your work, your oath to protect the public health and safety of all our residents. The conversation we should be having is one together. Focus on where we are going together, not where we came from. Shockingly, I witnessed an ICE attack. I'll call it an attack. I live in Shinnecock Hills on a hill, and I was on my front deck the first week in July. There's, I guess, 100-year oak trees surrounding me coming up from Montauk Highway, and so there's no visibility to anything below that. And suddenly, about 3 Black Hawk helicopters appeared from behind the trees, as close as I am to you. And it reminded me of that film Apocalypse Now, when, the scenes with the helicopters. And it was so terrifying. All I could think of was, what, were they going to shoot me? What are they doing in my neighborhood? Right off Montauk Highway. You can't see it from the road. They had guns mounted on the helicopters. It was terrifying. I ran in the house and I called the police, who said they didn't know what was going on. And they suggested I should call the Coast Guard, which I did. And the Coast Guard said it had nothing to do with them and that they would call me back. And they did call me back, which surprised me, and said it was the federal, they were federally mandated to be there. It had nothing to do with anything local. And it's really shocking that that can happen without any of you knowing.
30 seconds.
Or any of the other authorities knowing. And what defense would I have if they started shooting? None, because I wasn't prepared for it. Thank you.
Hope.
Yeah.
And after Bridget is Nick Palumbo.
Good afternoon. I'm Bridget Marr, and I live in Hampton Bays. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I talk about ICE, I wanted to congratulate Cindy and Sunday, and more importantly, I'd like to thank Rick Martell for his fine work as a dedicated councilman. And the residents of Hampton Bays are very appreciative and for all you've done. And Mr. Neely has some big shoes to fill. So, thank you. Okay, American exceptionalism is a theory that the United States is unique and stands apart from other nations. A byproduct of this belief is that Americans think bad things don't happen here. There are many recent examples of this. In recent history, remember how we thought 9/11 couldn't happen? Or a pandemic? Now we have masked federal agents, some call them thugs or Gestapo-like, on our streets, snatching up people. Did you think this was going to happen now in this time? No. Or in Chicago, a 1-year-old baby would be pepper sprayed in the face by an ICE agent. I'm not talking about immigration. I'm talking about tactics and inhumanity. We all feel powerless, but doing nothing is not an option. Many people, including Ann Welker, showed up to the protesting ICE in Hampton Bays and West Hampton. There's another protest on Friday. I'm showing up for that. I'm showing up here to tell you that we have to keep vigilant because doing nothing is unacceptable. I will write to Nick LaLota for what that may be worth. As a representative of this town, I think, Maria, I was going to ask, what will you do to protect the people of Southampton regardless of where they're from? I think you gave us some answers to that in the beginning. But if more people show up and protest, we may make a difference, and that's what makes us exceptional.
Bridget, did you want to tell exactly where the rally?
It's in West Hampton, I think Sunset Avenue, starts at 8:30 to 10:30. Across the firehouse.
I just want to just speak to that point, and that is that these are our volunteer first responders that are there to protect our community, and they had absolutely nothing to do with what happened. They were so upset that the community came out and protested the fire department. And say what you will, the sign said, fire and ice don't mix. They cannot keep federal agents from public property. They had nothing to do with it. And it hurt their families to see their loved ones who go to work every day to serve the community protested. And I would just ask, everyone has the right to protest. I wholeheartedly agree with what you want to do. I would just ask that you not do it at our local fire departments, because those people are there to defend the community. They don't ask what anybody's immigration status is, and they just want everyone to know that they had absolutely nothing to do with it, and it did upset them that they felt they were being protested. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Cindy. After
welcome the
Nick, it's
firefighters to
Jonathan Haynes.
Supervisor and council members, thank you for taking the time to hear me and others. My name is Nicholas John Palumbo. I currently reside in Ridge, but I work in Southampton, and my daughter attends OLH. I am a U.S. Navy veteran. I served from 2004 to 2010 and have 4.5 years on the USS Springfield, a submarine based in Groton, Connecticut. In that time, I was deployed twice. I got to see the world. I got to experience the culture, faith, and perspective of others from around the world. I experienced those experiences grew my love for this country and what it stands for. In this country, all people have a voice, and we stand up for those who are too weak to stand up for themselves. I was on shore leave in Bahrain, UAE, during the 2008 presidential elections. I was surrounded by Bahrainians when Obama was declared the winner. I experienced their overwhelming joy with the results. Tears, right? These people would not be directly affected by who was the president of the United States. At that time, I couldn't understand why they cared, but over time I did grow to understand. I grew to understand that the path America takes is the path the world takes. That brings us to today and the path we're on, a path of hatred and retribution, a path of lies, deceit, and half-truths. First, there are masked men who refuse to identify themselves in a meaningful way. How are we supposed to recognize their authority? No name, no badge, no organization, just a generic Velcro police patch that I can buy on Amazon for $20. Second, and I quote, "It appears as though they came to execute warrants." Police chief, it appears, did they or did they not? It's your guys' job to know that. I understand our local police can't do much, but you can monitor, you can investigate, you can document, and you can ensure the safety of this community. These men and women of ICE are using the color of law to trample the rights of all people. I thank the brave men and women who have stood on the streets with signs and whistles, both locally and around the nation. But why is it left up to us, the community? Because we're too fearful to stand up.
30 seconds.
I ask that you condemn the tactics of ICE. I ask that local police departments follow ICE with their body cameras and dash cameras on. I ask that you do this from an official capacity, a governmental capacity, because if you don't, we will, and we will vote just like we did on November 4th. Finally, I ask that you, the elected officials, stand with your constituents. We want to see you at our protests, at our meet and greets, at our sign-making events. Supervisor and council, we want you to be part of this community. I implore you to help us ensure the safety and legality of these
3
enforcement
minutes.
actions. In my opinion, the best way for you to help is to have local officers monitoring ICE and our elected officials, and for you to stand with us. Thank you once again.
Thank you. After Jonathan speaks, it's Sigrid Minel.
Good afternoon. My name's Jonathan Haynes. I live in Hampton Bays, which was invaded by ICE, Trump's private army. They claimed that they were carefully targeting the worst of the worst, illegal aliens with extensive criminal records and so on. ICE themselves reported after the fact that of the 8 people they picked up in Hampton Bays and West Hampton Beach, only 2 had any kind of criminal records. And again, according to ICE itself, this is about their average success rate with these arrests. What they were doing was not targeted. It was a dragnet at 7-Eleven and Dunkin' Donuts, just picking up people who look like they might not be from around here, who were peacefully trying to get to work. The point of the exercise, of course, is not efficiency. I think there are 3 points. One is simply to terrify a large part of our community, which they're doing very successfully. Another part of it is to divide our community by demonizing our neighbors and who are indispensable to the functioning of our economy and are day by day becoming more integrated in the community. The third thing they're doing is normalizing the spectacle of masked armed men in our streets, violating the constitutional rights, the due process rights of everybody is here. They're presenting a spectacle of brutality and bigotry. This makes me ashamed as a citizen, and it makes me angry. It's a betrayal of our rights and liberties. It's a betrayal of the openness and generosity, which has always been the best thing about this country, the thing that actually made this country great. At the October No Kings rally in Hampton Bays, somebody held up a sign that said, "Ever wonder what you might have done in 1930s Nazi Germany?
30
You're doing
seconds.
it now." So, finally, in response to comments from the board, there was one person at the demonstration in Hampton Bays the day after the raid holding up a sign that said, "Fire and ice don't mix." That was the only reference to the fire department. And in the demonstration, the information was going around that the fire company could not do anything about the federal use of their territory. So, apologize for the hurt feelings, but, that was certainly not the intention of the demonstrators.
Hurt feelings over hurt people.
Yes. And in response to Maria Moore's comments at the beginning, thank you. You said a whole lot. I cut my remarks because you said so much of what I was going to say. But I'm not sure a letter requesting more cooperation from ICE is what's called for. I think what's called for is our elected representatives and everybody from the schools and stands together to say, you are not welcome. This is not what we want in our community. If you're going to do this, you're doing this over our united, concerted opposition.
Thank
4
you.
minutes.
Next is Alma Tovar.
Good afternoon. My name is Sigrid Minel, and I've lived in Hampton Bays for 38 years. And I come to speak to you today about a similar concern. I'm active with PEER, which is called Progressive East End Reformers, since 2015. And we have over 600 members, followers, and 100% of us want ICE out of the community. Hampton Bays is not your typical Hamptons. It's made up of hardworking, year-round residents, people who want good schools and affordable housing so that their grown-up, smart kids can remain in this beautiful area. Many of the East End jobs involve serving our wealthy summer residents and tourists. Because there's such a need for people to work out here, we have attracted a very big immigrant community. Many of them are neighbors. As an educator, I had the joy and responsibility of teaching immigrant children in my diverse first grade Tuckahoe classroom. I got to know their parents and learn a lot about their customs and foods that they brought from their homelands, mostly from Central and South America. And they came here to an unfamiliar country, and what bravery they had, leaving poverty, wars, and oppression, and struggling to get here anyway because our, well, I'll go on to that. Many of these people have lived here a long time, and they're good neighbors, very receptive when we offer friendship. But things are changing now. I won't go into the reason except to say that U.S. immigration policy is a mess and overdue for reform. We're not getting reform. We're getting violence, lawlessness, cruelty, and destruction of our democratic institutions, which were created to reflect our values and the laws in our Constitution. I refer to ICE, who came to Southampton, into our Southampton communities like stormtroopers. Armed agents in masks pouring out of a caravan of vans in Hampton Bays and
30
West
seconds.
Hampton last week, grabbed and disappeared people of color. No questions asked, no judicial warrants displayed, no humanity shown. This is all happening in front of our children, who are frightened and confused and crying out for someone to take their little hands. I can't believe what I've seen, and I refuse to turn away.
3 minutes.
Now I'm here before my local government to demand that you look with clear eyes at what's happening. They say that all politics is local, so let's start with this town. I'm asking you to make a stand, not lip service, real action, and let ICE know that they do not belong here. Yes, it requires courageous citizenship. I've been active. Many of us are out in the streets and on social media. We have your backs. Don't let your community down. There is too much at stake. In times to come, some will say, I didn't know. Today, you have to pay attention. Thank you very much.
Please keep your comments to 3 minutes because there's so many people that want to speak and we want to make sure everyone has time. After Alma is Joanne Utley.
Good evening. My name is Alma Tovar. I am a community advocate with All of Eastern Long Island. And today I'm speaking from the heart of our community that has been deeply hurt by the recent events in Hampton Bays in West Hampton. What we witnessed was, without exaggeration, a hurt and a hunt for our Latino immigrants. People were taken from places where they belong. Not because they had done anything wrong, but simply because of how they looked. That is not a public safety, that is discrimination. During those days, I helped coordinate volunteers who were trying to protect and support our hardworking families. We felt frustration. frustration that we couldn't stop what was happening, and deep disappointment to see that the local fire department seemed to be collaborating with ICE agents to park and coordinate their actions there. For many of us, that felt like a betrayal, and I heard what you said. But really, it felt like a betrayal, a mockery of what community service is supposed to mean. And today, I am asking for clarity. I would like to know what role our local authorities played, and what role they will or will not play in the future in operations like this. And we don't want half-truths or empty statements. We deserve transparency, justice, and respect. As a member of our community and as an advocate, I need to know, and I need to trust. And we need to trust our police, our firefighters, and our local leaders, because right now, my community is asking me if they can trust you with their safety. And I'm going to be very honest. I don't know what to answer. That's the reality right now. We are here
30
because
seconds.
we still want to believe that we can build something better together. But that will only be possible if there is truth, accountability, and a real commitment of justice. Thank you.
May I pass, because I'm actually here to talk about something other than ICE?
Sure. Okay.
Come back, if you come back.
Adisa Curto, and then Mike Anthony. Yeah. Perhaps she's downstairs, so we'll just, Mike, why don't you go first, and, when she comes up, we'll take her.
Good afternoon, Mike Anthony, West Hampton. I'm a member of a group called Neighbors in Support of Immigrants. I'm happy to see other members of Neighbors in Support of Immigrants here today. I'd just like, before my prepared remarks, I want to say, Grania Brolin, sitting over there, who's a member of Neighbors in Support of Immigrants, produced a film probably 2010, 2011, around there, Grania. And what that film portrayed was how immigrants have made it in Southampton town. The showing happened to be at my house, and we invited the people who Grania had filmed for that production. It was a remarkable film. I have to say, I've never felt more patriotic in my life than I did when I watched that film. And if I remember correctly, Grania, there were very few dry eyes in the house. Regarding my prepared remarks, one of the reasons why I like living in Southampton town is that I think this government, different iterations over the years, have not withdrawn from tackling hard issues. This is a hard issue. The one I was most proud of in terms of what you tackled was when George Floyd was murdered in 2020. This town did not shy away from addressing that issue at the behest of Governor Cuomo at the time. He created something called the Community Law Enforcement Reform Commission. Do I have that right? I think, Mr. Burke, you're a member of that commission. Thank you. It was a remarkable piece of work. I mean, just extraordinary. I reread it after the ICE raids. And what it did, what it said, if you read through the document, which is, again, a remarkable document, that words jumped out at me were community, diversity, education, and training. And when they said community in that document, it meant everybody. It meant everybody, white, black, brown, no matter what. I was wondering after that, I wonder how permanent, how sticky that was. Would the police department really do the things that they said they did? I think they have.
30
So
seconds.
Subsequent, it's 30 seconds, oh my God.
Goes
I just
fast.
want to read, then I want to read a statement from Chief Kiernan to show how seriously he took that document. The community, Kieran said, is the biggest, this is from the 2070s, is the biggest stakeholder. I say to our community, as every police officer who works for the town, we're going to do our best every day to do everything we possibly can to make this a safe community. Southampton is unique in its partnership with the community and supportive of town government.
3
We
minutes.
Police reform while maintaining law and order. Then Chief Corning spoke in Spanish. We took the time out to learn how to say this in Spanish. Effective members of the Latino community, for their trust. We are here for you, and we want you to feel safe here in a wonderfully diverse community. Please never be afraid. Never be reluctant. Never hesitate to seek our help. We are your police department, and we are here to serve you if you ever should need us. Yeah, I don't know what form that will take. I just want to refer to what your former colleague said, as Assemblyman Tommy John Scavone said, the American Constitution, New York State Constitution was violated. I think we have to look at, Amendment, Fourth Amendment, the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, and what does that mean
4
for a
minutes.
locality? That's my request to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So did Adisa Curto come up? No? All right, I'll put her card aside. Vanessa Rojano and next is Maggie McDonald, after Vanessa.
Good afternoon, Town Council. Can you guys hear me? I felt
Yes.
that, okay. My name is Vanessa Rojano. I am a resident of Hampton Bays. I think I remember the day that the helicopter came, because I also live in the Shinnecock Hills. And it was alarming, to say the least. But I'm here, if it's all right, to read the comments of OLA's Executive Director, Minerva Perez. Just wanted to verify that I would be able to do that. Okay, awesome. Hello, this is a statement written by Minerva Perez, Southampton Town resident and Executive Director of OLA. I'm sad to not be there in person, but you will hear from some of our team members. Our team works tirelessly to provide health access and mental health support to all residents, regardless whether they are Latino or not. We do this for the love we have for each person and family we can help. Our very successful offering, Conversation Cafe, which we've mentioned here a few times, is made possible by a small Southampton Town grant. In this workshop, we invite English native speakers and Spanish native speakers to enjoy lunch and facilitated conversation. It's not a language class. It's a community building series that creates joy, laughter, and understanding. In the past, our police chief has even attended along with others from the police department. While we appreciate the chance to create these offerings for Southampton Town, we cannot take our eyes off what is happening right now to tear this place we call home apart. The center for every family is often a child or an elder. We are seeing firsthand the destruction of all we have come to know about public safety from the perspective of children and elders as well as others. Over the 23 years of OLA's existence, we have worked well to coordinate with law enforcement when victims of crimes or witnesses needed support to report these crimes. We have seen the swift action of law enforcement when they know where the bad guy is. They have done the work of keeping Southampton Town safe. We cannot afford to break that trust. The idea that another agency, without regard for the working structures of our town, could snatch our community members away without report or consequence is unacceptable. Hearing this statement, there's not much we can do, cannot suffice. We need to know what you can do to uphold your pledge to public safety. If you are able to learn who was taken with any criminal history, then you should be able to learn all the people who are taken with absolutely no criminal history. A caution to us all. If we shout out from the balconies of our glass houses that we are grateful to have the law breakers banished, then we better well know there isn't one among us with a mark against ourselves or our families. It's a slippery slope to measure a person's moral integrity on a scale that all of us cannot live up to.
30 seconds.
Calling 911 must never include a pause, fearing that those masked men in unmarked vehicles doing the dirty work are receiving handshakes and welcomes from our local authorities. If the men must wear masks, we should know if they are also employed by local East End government agencies with access to data. Where are the written contracts with full names and assurances? If the fire department leadership did not want ICE there, where's the letter after the fact complaining of illegal commandeering of property in violation of the 10th Amendment? Why wasn't everyone from the fire department standing with the peaceful protesters? We cannot talk out of both sides of our mouths and expect good results. We must stand with our community as it is, with our full hearts and power. Those are the conclusions of her statement, but I did want to touch on that as well, that I am sorry that the fire department's volunteers and their families felt that they were being personally attacked for something they did not do. But that's not what the protest was doing, and I'm sorry they interpreted it that way. People were joining in community to say that they did not appreciate our public facilities being used as staging locations for unmasked men in unmarked vehicles to come in and take away people who may or may not have been citizens. The fact that I was born here in the Southampton Hospital, the same hospital as one of America's most beloved first women, Jackie Onassis, does not protect me. This accent doesn't protect me. Nothing really is protecting me from these people, except for our community. Thank you.
Maggie McDonald did not.
I'm speaking on a topic related to ICE, so can I go after?
Sure.
Thank you.
Teresa Wildrick and Steve Abramson.
Good afternoon. My name is Terry Wildrick. I'm a co-president of the League of Women Voters of the Hamptons, Shelter Island, and the North Fork. I'm speaking on behalf of our league. We're a nonpartisan political organization that never supports a party or a candidate. We do hold positions on issues and hold elected officials accountable. The League of Women Voters of the United States holds the position that immigration policies should promote the reunification of immediate families, meet economic, business, and employment needs, and be responsive to those facing political persecution or humanitarian crises. All people should receive fair treatment under the law. As long ago as 2008, the League stated that while policy reforms remain unachieved, the League does not support deporting immigrants who have no history of major or violent criminal activity. We support provisions for individuals living here without legal permission to obtain legal status. We support federal immigration laws that provide efficient, expeditious systems for immigrants to enter the United States. The League believes that a path to citizenship or provisions for unauthorized immigrants already living in the U.S. to earn legal status will strengthen our nation. We support due process for all persons, including the right to a fair hearing, right to counsel, right of appeal, and the right to humane treatment. Webster's dictionary defines humane as marked by compassion, sympathy, or consideration. In the past weeks in our community, this right has been violated. Just a personal note, I was out of town last week, but I was horrified by the texts I was receiving. In protest of the Supreme Court decision allowing the administration to deport immigrants to countries other than their own, the League CEO, Selena Stewart, wrote, "This shameful and dangerous decision is a direct attack on the right to due process. It puts every American resident and citizen at risk and is a disgrace to the principles that this country claims to stand for." As a pro-democracy organization, we remain steadfast in our demand that all people are treated with humanity, fairness, and receive due legal process. Thank you.
After Steve, it's Yasima, or Yesenia. That's it, there you go.
Steve Abramson, resident of Watermill, New York. Madam Supervisor, member of the boards, thanks for the opportunity to express my personal opinion today. I'm not here on behalf of any organization with which I might be identified. Certainly when we all stood today, we pledged allegiance to the flag, which really stands for liberty and justice for all. It's not happening here. It's not happening nationally, and we have to stop it from happening here locally. We have masked men carrying off peaceable members of our community without warrants, without due process. This is not the American way. ICE officials claim to be targeting dangerous criminals, the worst of the worst, they say. But the public sees much abuse, masked agents grabbing people who are not engaged in any obvious criminal activity. Mothers walking children to school, landscapers coming home from work, families in the hallways of courthouses even. We should not accept masked men making arrests in Southampton. Our proud police officers wear their names on their uniforms, displaying their badge numbers. This practice evolved because police officers work in the community, and the community pays their salaries. And that openness develops trust in the police force. It's not what we have here with ICE people in masks. To the residents of Southampton, I say stand up. If you're witness to this illegal ICE activity, demand that they show a warrant for arrest. Film videos. I would urge our town board to seek every means to mandate our police department not to cooperate with ICE in arresting individuals without a warrant. Gentlemen referred to the parallels to World War II. In 1946, the German Lutheran pastor Martin Niemöller penned a very famous message called First They Came. It indirectly condemned the complicity of German intellectuals and clergy in the Nazis' rise to power, and then the incremental purging of their chosen targets. It said, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew.
30 seconds.
Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Let's not let ICE isolate and target any segment of us. Let us stand up against a masked secret police force. Let's protect the dignity of peaceable immigrants, our welcome neighbors who live and work in our community. Thank you for your time.
After Yesenia is Waleska Ramirez.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, board members, members of our community. I am here today because...
could you please state your name for the record?
Yesenia Kachimba, I'm a Sag Harbor resident. I'm here today because our community is under attack. ICE agents are raiding our neighborhoods, our workplaces, our courthouses. The people that are being targeted are not criminals. They are our neighbors, hardworking mothers and fathers who are raising their children alongside ours. They are children who have only known us as our small town as their home. They are human beings who came here to work, live, and to belong. Every fall, we marvel at the birds when they migrate south. We call it nature's beauty. Yet when people move in search of safety and opportunity, we criminalize it. We celebrate migration when it's birds, but punish it when it's people. These raids are destroying trust. They make families afraid to report crimes, send their children to school, not to mention what it's doing to our mental health. Real law enforcement officers take an oath to serve and protect, to build safety through trust, not terror. ICE has broken that trust. When they act without accountability, when they ignore due process and dehumanize our neighbors, they erode the foundation of safety that real police work depends on. A testament of that is the lack of Latino presence in this room. We do not know who to trust. To echo the message of the speakers before me, our communities deserve safety, dignity, and humanity, not raids, not intimidation, and not racial profiling. It's time to hold ICE accountable and reclaim the true value of justice. I plead with the board, your message must be clear. There is no place for masked agents. There is no place for kidnapping in our communities. One last note, and one we should take very seriously, to echo the poem that was just read. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us, and ignoring it would be a huge mistake.
Valeska Ramirez, and then Janet O'Brien.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Waleska Ramirez, better known to the community as Wally.
Just go
Yes,
closer to the
step a
microphone.
little closer.
Just a little.
Here?
Yes.
Is this better? Can you hear
Yes.
me now? Okay, so I am Waleska Ramirez, but better known to the community as Wally Ramirez. I am also a community advocate for Ola of Eastern Long Island. And I'm here just to talk about what I am witnessing from the families that reach out to Ola and call us for help. As you're aware, that there's been many community members detained. These community members are hardworking individuals who have lived and contributed to our and your community for years. Most of them all are not criminals. They are fathers, mothers, husbands, sons, daughters, brothers, friends, and they are literally being kidnapped by armed, masked men. Families are being ripped apart. The community is terrified. They fear going to doctors' offices, food shopping, the laundromat to do laundry, to work, and to even send their kids to school. They're being targeted and taken because of how they look and the color of their skin, regardless of criminal history or having judicial warrants. There has been an increase of ICE activity, and it has become more violent. There is a lack of action, and there's something that needs to be done.
3 minutes.
I know that you mentioned earlier about writing a letter. It just doesn't seem that that's enough. We need your support. We need to see that you stand on our side, and our community needs to feel safe. Thank you.
Thank you. After Janet is Patty Schaefer.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you, everybody. Unprepared words here. I am surprised, and I'm actually delighted to hear so many strong words in this room today, words of strength for your community. But I'm surprised that there is not any other business owners like myself here today in defense of our Latino community. And do I draw our attention to how many businesses do depend on our amazing workers that have been members, for example, in my company for 25 years? And I, as an immigrant myself, would like to draw attention to that, to everybody, that if you even stand at a crossroads and look at the amount of trucks that are driven by our Latinas and Latinos at the end of the day, that surely it's reflecting on our businesses. And our businesses is our community. It's everything. So as an immigrant employer, and as somebody who depends not only, of course, on immigrants, but as many, many of the community members in Southampton, Janet O'Brien Caterers and Events, we're pretty well known, that we need to spotlight this. It's not just the wrongs that are happening, but also the rights and the work that people have brought to our tables. Okay, folks, thank you very much.
And after Patty Schaefer, it's Ella Engel Snow.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Moore and council members, and thank you for offering the opportunity to speak out on this issue. My name is Patty Schaefer Fahey, and I live in West Hampton Beach. I'm here to add my voice to those in the town of Southampton who are shocked and saddened by recent events targeting the most vulnerable members of our communities. I stand with Ola and Sepa Mujer in the work they conduct every day to support the immigrant community. We need their organizations, and we need their voices. Over the years, I've met dozens of immigrants and new Americans whose hard work and sacrifices have been an inspiration and whose contributions to the community are immeasurable. These are our fellow parents, students in our schools, parishioners in our places of worship, friends and neighbors. They contribute to, as Supervisor Moore said, the very fabric of our communities. It's reassuring to hear from Supervisor Moore that the town will stand up for these individuals and their families. And the crowd that has stood up this afternoon is truly inspiring. It's restored my faith that good people outnumber those with bad intentions. I really hope that can continue to be the case. I'd just like to add one point. I was going to say that I haven't heard mentioned, but the speaker before me said it so eloquently, and that's to ask businesses and small business owners around town to please come forward and demand from our elected officials and decision makers that we implement comprehensive immigration reform and that we find reasonable paths to employment and to citizenship. If you're hiring immigrants and undocumented workers, or you're using subcontractors that are using these individuals for their labor and looking the other way, you have a civic and I'd argue moral obligation to help solve this issue. Our most vulnerable neighbors have no voice, and they need all of us, particularly their employers, their teachers, and their neighbors, to stand on the right side of history. Thank you.
After Ella is Tinka Topping.
Good morning. My name is Ella Engel Snow. I live in Sagaponack. I'm a farm worker, an after-school educator, and a social worker. And I'm here today, along with many others, to speak about the brutal ICE raids that have been terrorizing our communities. I want to thank those who have been clear about your support for all community members and those who have been clear about not being willing to comply. And you have my support. I really don't have anything new to say. There's been many great things that have been said, but I'm here anyway because it's important that you, the town board, hear how many of us, your constituents, are not only paying attention, but are calling on you. And that's really what I've heard, is that people are here asking you for more, calling on you as our elected leaders to show up. What we do in this moment matters. Oh, I'm sorry. At every level of, what we do in this moment matters at every level of government. It matters in every town, on every road, in front of every person's home or job. Every precious life, every relationship is an entire world. And we must act with this understanding. There is always a choice to stand up against injustice and cruelty. And that is exactly what we are seeing, blatant, massive cruelty. In these unprecedented times, we must be creative and work together to find new ways to support each other and to uphold what I hope and believe to be our shared value, that every life must be treated equally and with care. We must do what we can from where we are. And where we are in the town of Southampton, our neighbors, our friends and family are being terrorized. As you know, people are afraid to leave their home, afraid to send children to school, afraid to go grocery shopping, afraid to go to the doctor. Those of us who have the capacity to speak up and stand up must join together and stand in the way of this horror, just as we would hope people would do for us. I look forward to hearing from you about what more you are willing to do. And, you know, just in response to the thing about the fire department, as many others have said, just because one may feel that they can't prevent something from happening does not mean that they can't stand up against it and speak out against it. And you all, as a town board, can come together and speak out against this and say, no, ICE is not welcome here. ICE is not welcome to plan and meet in our fire departments, our police departments, or any other place. Thank you.
So after Tortilla topping is Kristen Argio.
Thank you. Sorry, can you hear me?
A little closer, maybe.
Closer? That was my granddaughter.
Maybe tip it down a little bit. Yeah.
That was my granddaughter, who speaks from a different perspective than I do. And all I can say is I appreciate the board's commitment to being sure that ICE is not going to. I see that. I hear you really don't want it, and you should be commended for that. But it seems to me that one of the things we could do, that you could do, is to see where it has worked. Everyone has talked about how we should stop ICE from doing illegal, immoral things. But why not find out and consult with those communities? And there are some. There's one in Connecticut, there's one in California that I've already researched that have successfully stopped ICE. And it obviously has to be elected officials. So how to put pressure on those people who are elected officials, and that would be your job. And I appreciate everything that you're doing, and thank you.
Do you have some reference to those matters?
I do,
I
and
would
you
love to see
can.
that.
Yeah, okay.
Is that something you could leave a copy with the clerk or email to us?
I'll try to, yes. I mean, I will. Who should I leave it with?
Well, our clerk.
Okay.
And then she can distribute it to all of us. I'd be very interested to see what you found.
Because there are communities that have succeeded.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Kristen, after Kristen is John McAuliffe.
Christine?
I'm sorry, Christine, yeah. Christine Argiro.
I'll try to be quick.
You have 3 minutes.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Okay. So my name's Christine Argiro. I'm a lifelong resident of Hampton Bays, a mother, a daughter of immigrants, and a proud member of this community. What occurred here last Wednesday was not law enforcement. It was racial terror. ICE parked at Hampton Bays High School were there not to protect, but to intimidate. One student I hold close to my heart said, "Can't they do something?" Speaking of everyone with a sense of morality. I'm worried about myself and my mom. Students had no idea what was unfolding outside while families across town were traumatized systematically. I thank the superintendent there and the administration for caring for our children. Even though my children don't go there, but they are our children. The same morning, ICE agents assaulted residents. A clinician contacted me, desperate to find lawyers for her childhood friend who had been detained. Another friend, a U.S. citizen, watched her cousin being escorted away in handcuffs on Facebook Live. At a local Dunkin' Donuts, frightened workers fled while customers laughed. The lack of education in this country is purposeful. Let's not fall prey to an agenda of illiteracy to keep constituents in the dark. Later, I was told of a U.S. citizen woman assaulted and then driven around for hours by ICE officers. And as I stand here, children, our greatest treasures, our little miracles, are being separated from their mothers across cities in the United States. This injustice defies every moral, and although I'm not religious, I imagine also defies every spiritual law. God only knows what fate such acts will lead to. We are breaking not only families, but the moral spine of our nation. What happened in Hampton Bays is not isolated. It is a foreshadowing of what is happening across this country. A slow normalization of cruelty. Across cities and towns, fear-based enforcement tactics are being used to divide communities, destabilize families, and instill collective trauma. This is not public safety. It is systematic dehumanization. And when racial profiling is permitted under the guise of legality, countless members of our society, citizens and non-citizens alike, will be violated of their rights. And I will skip here. On social media that night, I saw anti-immigrant, racist, and Islamophobic comments from former Hampton Bays classmates. These are individuals I grew up with. Many have been indoctrinated by decades of misinformation shaped by an environment that normalizes bigotry.
3 minutes.
So I just want to close here. And I want to say it would be really nice, and sorry to the firefighters that were offended, but it's not about them. It wasn't about them. It was about the people that were traumatized. They're in the middle of town. That's where the protest was, period. And they could have stood in solidarity. It's not about them who carry equipment, right? It's about our children and our families and our friends. So what I'm asking, if your hands are tied, then that's fine, but show up. Go to the school, go to the churches, show your faces and say, hey, I'm here, I'm with you. Rick, I don't know if you even know me, but I graduated with Ricky.
Of course.
Kindergarten through 12th grade. And like you and I haven't really exchanged any words, but it's not too late to make a stand.
So since you brought me in, look, thank you for coming in. It's great to see you. I appreciate everything you said. So, on the fire department end of it, they can make their statements and the signs across the street shouldn't bother them at all. But just like you, their kids saw the social media and the back and forth that you did. And it was horrific on both sides. And their kids had to read those same comments and go through that. And there was a lot of kids who were upset by that. And I know it's just a small part of the feelings that are going around here, but it did affect everybody to come out and say that the fire department, was taking a part in this, and they absolutely were not. I will tell you from my end, because I've worked with the kids in the school for quite a few years. We were working on legislation to help cover some of the SNAP benefits that were missing for the kids who weren't getting food in school. I had checked in with Catherine Andrzejak, who is the head of the St. Rosalie's Food Pantry. And some of the things that she told me were disturbing. That, right after the ice aids, nobody came for food. The kids weren't going to their after-school programs at the library. That, less kids were in school. And that's all troubling to me. I made sure that, some of the benefits that I can get my hands on went to the pantry and to do things like that. There's a lot of questions, and I'll comment after everything on what I think we can do. But I'm absolutely involved in the community, as we all should be. And don't stop at just coming here. Follow up with your food pantries. Follow up at the school. I know Lars Clemenson will never let ICE into the building. Whether they can use the parking lot or not, I'm not sure what the legality is there. But absolutely, there's firewalls. And just to get back, we can't blame the fire department. We have questions for the chief that he's answered over and over and over again. I wish we had prior notice. There's a lot of things I wish we had, but we can talk about.
I'm not blaming them
Yeah.
at all. I just want to make that very, very clear. And they are just a product of the fallout of just a much bigger issue. You know what I mean?
I just want you to understand that, we're listening to everybody today, but there are steps that we have taken. There probably is more to come, but right now, we're just listening.
If I may, before we continue on, I know we have one last person or two before we finish this discussion on ICE and immigration, but I really want to say a comment based on some of the things that have been brought up, the topics. Two things. I want to split this into two parts. First and foremost, I have had discussions with Minerva Perez and some of the advocates, and I understand the concerns. And I have had follow-up conversations with our police department. So let me just first and foremost say something about our police department. A lot of the men and women who serve our police department are trying everything they can to do things in an ethical and moral way. I do understand that they feel as if that they cannot participate in the fullest extent of understanding what's happening, and that's very frustrating for them. And I want to commend the men and women of our police department. Our police department, as referenced before, post-George Floyd, has probably become one of the most progressive police departments in the nation. But I want to say one other thing about the issue going on with ICE. hearing from the superintendents of some of our local schools and hearing that they're seeing a decrease, hearing that they are seeing a decrease in the number of children coming into school in the attendance records is extraordinarily concerning to me. And in the name of responsible government and transparency, I think it's incumbent upon all of us to find out why they are taking the people they are taking and who they are taking. Because as far as I understand it, we don't know. And that is a problem in terms of basic transparency in local governance. And so if we are going to be sending a letter, that letter should be specifically asking those questions. We should be provided with that basic level of information, period.
I just want to follow up on what you said, and that is, I know that, from the community standpoint, us asking questions doesn't seem like enough, but to get answers to a lot of these questions that you yourselves are asking will help us inform the community on what's going on going forward. We do have many conversations with our local superintendents of our school districts that are seeing this affect our children. And getting answers to questions is where we start, because we can't do anything without the answers to these questions that we all want answers to. And that being said, I'm glad that Mr. Anthony brought up what Chief Kieran had said when we brought him on as the chief of Southampton Town Police Department. Our police department, our local police department, has not changed. They are the same police department that has given awards by OLA, that is out there in the community, going to community events. You can 1,000% call them without fear. And I think that is a message that we need to get out there to the community, because, people have enough fear going on that if there's something going on in their lives, if there's a woman being battered, if there's a child being abused, we need them to be able to reach out to our local law enforcement. That cannot stop, and we really need to drive home that fact that our local police department is here for you. They are the same police force that has been here for you, and they will be here for you in the future, and you need to feel safe to call them. So.
Good points, both of you. Okay, our last speaker, I believe, on this topic in the room is John McAuliffe.
Good afternoon. John McAuliffe. I live in Riverhead, but I grew up in Noyac. I have 3-4 generations of history in Southampton, Palmers and McAuliffes. So I welcome an opportunity to share my perspective. It's a perspective based on also having served in the Peace Corps in Peru, and that's where my Latin America perspective comes from. We're a country of immigrants, right? Just looking who's on the board and in this audience, my Irish family came just before the famine, at the famine, after the famine in the late 19th century. There was no such thing as an illegal immigrant or an undocumented immigrant. You got off the boat, and the only question was whether you had tuberculosis or some other contaminating disease, and then you could come into the United States and you could ultimately become a citizen. And I think that's what we need to be looking at right now. I don't believe in open borders, but I also believe in realism and understanding who it is that makes our country function today. The jobs that are done by people in Riverhead or in Southampton, all over the country, are often done by people who don't have a piece of paper that gives them the right to do those jobs. I think that we need to address that problem, but we also need to understand why they came here and the cost that brought them here. People traveled at great risk to themselves and their children. They paid $10,000 to $15,000 to be able to come to the U.S. In some ways, the hardship was worse than even my ancestors faced coming from Ireland. attitudes, I mean, this has been a very positive meeting in what people have said, but all you have to do is go to next door to see what popular attitudes about immigrants are. And it reminds one of the attitudes about the Irish and the Italians and the Poles and the Eastern Europeans in the 19th and 20th century.
30 seconds.
The last thing that I would say is that I think whatever, you are far ahead of where my own town board is in Riverhead, and having this session is, I hope, will serve as an inspiration to Riverhead. But I think that all of the town boards need to put themselves publicly in a position of opposing ICE, and I think also calling for legal status, some green card status for people
3
who are
minutes.
here. Thank you very much.
All right, Joanne. Reverend Utley.
Dorothy.
Thank you all for coming today and sharing your thoughts.
That's it. It's going to close it right there.
Dorothy.
Good afternoon. My name is Reverend Joanne Utley. I'm the pastor of Hampton United Methodist Church here in Southampton and part of a larger cooperative parish of United Methodist churches throughout the...
Just talk a little bit closer to the microphone. There's a lot of noise in the background.
I'm trying to stand back because every time the guy comes out the door...
Just don't kiss it.
But also represent a group of 10 United Methodist churches here on the East End. And I'm speaking about Resolution 51504 about the emergency food assistance. The greatest mission of my congregation is feeding the community. And we do that in a number of ways. And to hear about the folks who have lost their SNAP benefits because of machinations in our nation's capital has been appalling. And people are going hungry. People are not going to the grocery store because they don't have those kinds of benefits. Although undocumented immigrants are not eligible for SNAP benefits, but their citizen children may well be. And I applaud the efforts of this board in a work session that I listened to yesterday on providing more funding for the meals at the senior centers. But I also ask you to not forget the other end of the age spectrum here, the babies and the children and the families who have lost their SNAP benefits, and we don't know when they will be restored, if they will be restored. And so I urge you to do whatever you can with whatever resources you have to help out our community. No matter how, I'd love it to be millions of dollars, but whatever amount will help, because every nickel and dime helps for families who are living in food insecurity on a daily basis. So that's what I'm urging you to do, to take whatever action you can within your purview to help people feed their families so that the children will do well in school, the families can survive, and they can thrive in one of the most expensive places on the face of the planet. So that's what I urge you to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Utley. And I just wonder if Adisa Curto came back or Maggie McDonald would like to speak now.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to participate. My name is Maggie McDonald. I'm a partner at the law firm Sive Paget in Roselle. I, along with my partner Scott Furman, represent the Bridgehampton Conservation Alliance, which is a group of neighbors and a business adjacent to 819 Lumber Lane in Bridgehampton. We noted that the agenda today contains a number of resolutions associated with the acquisition of easements. And we certainly support the use of public funds by the town of Southampton to acquire property in order to preserve open spaces and the character of the town of Southampton and its roots in the production of farm products. An application for the development of 819 Lumber Lane was submitted to the planning board this August. The subject property is subject to a development rights agreement pursuant to which the town acquired development rights with public funds with the stated purposes of preserving open space, agricultural soils, and scenic views. While the application was deemed incomplete at the time it was submitted, we anticipate that the developer will be resubmitting the information requested by the planning board. Our clients intend to present their concerns regarding the proposed development, which include any derogation of the development rights agreement, the development of lands in an archaeologically sensitive area, an aquifer protection area, and the process and procedure of the review of the proposed development by the planning board. The town has an obligation to your constituents to be available to field these concerns, and we wanted to advise the town that on October 17th, we formally requested a meeting on behalf of the Bridgehampton Conservation Alliance with Supervisor Moore and Town Attorney Burke to discuss the proposed development at 819 Lumber Lane, and we are still awaiting a response from Ms. Moore and Mr. Burke to propose times that we can meet to discuss the development rights acquired by the town and the restrictions applicable to the site. Specifically, we're seeking assurance that the development rights agreement associated with 819 Lumber Lane will be enforced and that the development will not be allowed to proceed to the extent that such development would derogate from the purpose of the development rights agreement. We're renewing our request for a meeting to discuss our concerns. And on a personal note, unrelated to my representation of the Bridgehampton Conservation Alliance, and with the understanding that I'm not a resident of the town, I just want to voice my support for everything that was said related to ICE.
Thank you. And my apologies for the delay in responding with dates, but we'll do that this week. We'll get back to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You have a lot on your plate, so I appreciate it.
We're meeting internally to review the easement that was put in place in 2001.
Okay,
So
great.
yeah, we've been reviewing it. It's not like we haven't been.
I appreciate that update. Thank you very much. And now you have a face to the name on the
Yeah,
emails and
you can
everything.
call me, give me a call too.
What's
Or
her
we're setting up an internal meeting for assembly.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to be heard at public portion?
There is.
Kevin?
Yeah, Meredith.
Oh, somebody is there. Oh.
Yeah, there's two more people after Meredith.
I thank the gentleman from Newsday for being so respectful and quiet and setting up and breaking down.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, again, sorry, I couldn't connect for a second. Again, I'm Meredith Berkowitz. I want to start by saying what I'm about to talk about pales in comparison to the fear that so many in our community are now facing and that has been expressed tonight. Nevertheless, I came here to speak today in my individual capacity, not for the Civic Association, as a neighbor of 625 Butter Lane. Dr. Michelle Green spoke on 10/28, and from your responses at that meeting, I think there's some confusion I wanted to clear up. First, Supervisor Moore, you said that there's no use violation because it's not husbandry, which I presume is because you've been told that they are pets and pets are allowed. But have you actually read the easement? Because this easement clearly states the only permitted use is agriculture for commercial purposes. Pets are not and have never been a commercial purpose, which is why I'm confused as to how anyone can conclude pets are allowed. Even if the zoning allowed pets, easements by their nature are intended to be more restrictive. If the intent was to allow pets, the easement would have said so, and it doesn't. Moreover, under case law, even if there's an ambiguity, as the court just told all the parties in the housing litigation, the conservation easement has to be read in the most favorable way to the grantee, the town, which means that you can't read in pets as an express or accessory purpose if it's not mentioned. At the October 28th meeting, Mr. Burke touted the housing case as a substantial win, and it was for the literal interpretation of the easement. So how can the town now take a different position? Sorry, my thing is going. How can the town take a different position that is potentially averse and inconsistent with the position you just advocated for and won. As for Mr. Burke, he said he had offered to discuss the matter to me last April and to Dr. Green at the last meeting. I can't tell you how many times we've reached out and asked for a meeting, never receiving a response. Since April, I've reached out a half a dozen times by email and by phone. I don't even get a call back or an email back. Yet I have no doubt that the owner and his attorney were granted opportunities to meet and argue their case. As equal taxpayers, why are we not afforded the same access? What we are asking for is that you, as the fiduciaries and the only party with the power to enforce this easement, please seek the advice of independent counsel, one who can interpret the recent court decisions and render a legal opinion, or at least read the decisions that were issued in First Blue and 625 Butter on the housing, and read the easement and then draw your own conclusions as to whether pets constitute a commercial purpose. The full story on the housing is that the town did not vigorously defend the easement from the start. It took over 2 years of begging to get the town council to even look at the easement. 2 years during which neighbors had to spend money out of their own pockets for lawyers at endless ZBA hearings. That letter should have been issued from the start, pretty much the same place we are in now with the alpaca. If the town is so sure pets are allowed, then please put it in writing so that what is an effective zoning decision on use can be appealed. We should not have to beg for enforcement. Southampton used to take enforcement seriously. Whether from the threat of litigation or for other reasons, the prior administration adopted more of a policy of appeasement. But that policy has come at a great cost, the erosion of the efficacy of our conservation agreements. It's not about alpaca or 625 Butter. It's not about neighbor versus neighbor disputes. There are much larger issues at stake. Our easements are being overrun while Southampton sits by idly. The ZBA decisions in Haney Farm and 600 Mecox went unchecked. Now they are waived as binding precedent. You gave it to them, so give it to us. And there's First Blue, 625 Butter, 2 Trees, 819 Lumber, North Edge, just in Bridgehampton alone, all trying to get around their easements. And there's several new ones on the agenda. What good are those easements if you don't strictly enforce them? You can change that, and we are begging for your help. Stem and perhaps even reverse the tide. Return to upholding these easements. Make it a priority. That would be a huge win for conservation. Thank you very much.
Meredith, I'll definitely make a priority next week. I'll meet with Jim and find out what is happening so we can
I
respond.
mean, it's been numerous years of litigation. I've checked my emails. I have never received an email from Ms. Berkowitz, so I don't know why there's a mix-up there.
I'm happy to print out the ones that I sent
spoke with Dr.
you.
Green numerous times over 5 years, as well as Sean Cambridge, other attorneys from my office. And Dr. Green is represented, so there's issues there as well as there. But this matter's been in litigation for many, many years, and my office has spent a considerable amount of time on this matter, so.
The alpaca is actually not in litigation. It was only the housing that's in litigation, and the town actually won the litigation. And I think, as far as I know, I spoke to Dr. Green this morning. I don't think she's had numerous conversations with you. And I think a lot of times you respond that, we're represented by counsel, talk to the council, but you don't. Jeff Bragman has tried to contact you several times on my behalf. And so I'm just saying, we would just like an opportunity to discuss this.
I've spoken to Jeff Bragman many times. And I've
On
never
the
received
specific
an email from
alpaca?
him, ever.
All right, so I'm gonna look at the conservation easement, and if I have
Thank
any
you.
questions, I'll talk to Jim and then get back to you.
Thank you, we appreciate that. Have a good evening, afternoon.
Okay, Kevin, is there anyone else that wants to be heard at the public portion?
Yes, we have one more hand up.
Yeah. Nevertheless.
Ms. Jackson.
One-eyed cat.
Hi. It's a little complicated apparently on the phone to get in connection. I'm Elizabeth Jackson. Can't see that. I guess I'm talking to the board, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I needed. This is in relation to ICE again, and I just wanted to say that members of the fire department should have been terrified, but they should have been terrified to see the members of ICE in their parking lot in the first place. That they should have been concerned with what our community would think of them. They should have been ready to speak out quickly to inform the community that they were not supporting. But instead, people were left to speculate. I myself was aware of the notion that the fire departments have been using across Long Island, fire department, I mean, not the fire, ICE has been using the fire departments across Long Island as staging areas. But had we not shown up on Friday morning as a community of protesting, we may have never gotten an actual public comment made by the fire department. And whether or not people were feeling concerns themselves, without that public statement, people will speculate. And those same people are the ones that then have to go on social media and see people making vile comments about how supportive they are of ICE. When ICE comes to the fire department, has their right to stage there, for that same reason, all of us have the right to show up outside of the fire department on the public sidewalk and stand with our neighbors. Also, the news coverage has been another issue as far as whether or not people are being told the real stories. We've seen that 4 of the 12 I read had allegedly had some kind of background, but that means that there was 8 people that were taken up and shackled and put into trucks by masked men that we have absolutely no idea whether there was any kind of criminal record. We don't even know if they were U.S. citizens because we've only been told 4 of them have a record and we're Mexican. I can also guarantee you that most people driving past us with these vocal thoughts against the immigrants likely have records themselves that would also come to light if anyone were to suddenly scoop them off the streets. The main point of this is that silence is complicity, and by not speaking out against an injustice or wrongdoing, you are passively allowing it to continue and therefore partially responsible. Silence in the face of injustice is not a neutral position. And I know a lot of times people think this is about politics, and honestly, I don't think it's about politics at all. This is about everybody's rights and the fact that we're crumbling as a society because of these actions. People want to go past the fire department, remember the days that they paid to go on the rides. People want to go and remember the positive times when their kids were laughing. And now you have a tremendous amount of community members that will pass by that fire department and all other local fire departments right now and have in the back of their mind, should I look and see if there's ICE agents there and warn my friends? That is a problem. So hopefully we can figure out a way to get eyes on them, to get more accountability, and perhaps video from cameras would be helpful as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, are there any other speakers?
Yes, Maria, there's one more person.
There.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Cindy Clifford. I live in Riverhead, but I'm a longtime resident of the East End and have countless neighbors and families that are deeply impacted by what's going on. I'm here for everyone who has parents or have themselves left their first home to start over. Everyone who believed in the promise that America offered for a better life and a brighter future. It's too trite to say the American dream has turned into a nightmare, but I can't imagine anything worse than knowing that any minute you could be ripped away from your family. It's unbearable to even consider how that would feel. But compassion and empathy is what makes us better people, and what could compel you to find a path to do something. I'm here because I believe that you are looking for a path to protect against or to offset the unforgivable violations of human rights we're now witnessing. I'm here to suggest and push for and plead for legislation that would align the procedures of ICE agents with law and legal rights. We need, for the safety and well-being of our neighbors at risk and for their peace of mind and for the good of the community, more restrictive parameters to stop this wave of lawlessness. We're turning to you to circumvent these agents to assure that they, like everyone else in this county and country, follow the letter of the law. We need to know ICE agents would be required to show a badge, to identify themselves by name, to present a legal warrant and just cause before taking anyone into custody. They should be prohibited from masking their faces, and they should not be permitted to use community-serving, taxpayer-funded facilities like our fire departments as a base of operation. When the threads of society unravel, there is both a collective and an individual cost. We lose our place, we lose our order, we lose our sense of security, and we lose sleep. I am here because I lose sleep worrying about these people, knowing that so many are threatened and that they're constantly facing this fear for themselves and for their children. And I'm just asking you to do what you can to right this wrong. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, well, if there's no other comments, then well, you've already had spoken, but did you need to have a follow-up? I mean, you have to come up to the microphone, Mike.
Regarding the firehouse, I think part of the confusion, I'm confused myself, is that under the 10th Amendment of the Constitution is something called the commandeering doctrine, which says that the federal government cannot commandeer spaces to do their activities, and can't force the state or local governments to do those things for them. And the question is, what happened at the Hampton Bays Fire Department fall within the commandeering doctrine? When I Google it, I get one answer that says, yes, they can do it. And Google something else says, no, they can't do it. So hopefully we can settle that issue. So I think that's why we were there at the firehouse. Okay.
Thank you. All right, so yes, you.
I just want to say one more quick thing.
Okay, quickly, and then we have to move on.
As you can tell when I spoke, I was really, really upset. And on Wednesday morning, I must have made at least 12 phone calls. I called ordinance, I called town hall, I called the attorney's office, nobody. I called the fire department, nobody got back to me, not one person. And I got different things from different people. I'm still not sure. I mean, the sign to the fire department, when you go in, says no through traffic. Now, does that mean that what I was told by one person, that anybody could go in there? So that means I can go in there and park? Another person, when I called code enforcement, told me that it was the president who was making this. I called 4 times to town hall. And I was referred the last time to you, and left my name and phone number and never heard a word. And all I wanted to know was, what was the legality? I still don't know what the legality is of using the fire department. Somebody had to know. The fire department never got back to me. Town hall didn't. Attorney's office didn't. I was upset. And I still don't know what the answer is.
All right, so I make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody, and let's move forward now with our resolutions.
Town Board Resolution 1300 of 2025, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorized grant for Youth Bureau from New York State Partnership for Children, Youth, and Families.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1301 to authorize purchase of computers for police vehicles from Island Tech Services LLC using Omnia Partners contract and New York State OGS contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1302 to authorize the purchase of firearms, ammunition, and less lethal products from various contractors using New York State OGS contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1303, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara to authorize the purchase of New York RICI Live Scan portable tablet from Clearview Data Systems, Inc., using the New York State OGS contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1304, to authorize purchases of process service long arm from One World Judicial Services, Inc., using the Suffolk County contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1305, authorized purchase of snow equipment, parts, accessory, and cutting edges using the Town of Hennington contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1306, to authorize purchases of technology solutions from Gov Connection, Inc., doing business as Connection-Public Sector Solutions, using the Omnia contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1307 of 2025, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for portable toilet rentals with Call Ahead.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1308, authorized supervisor sign a contract to extend acceptance of Town of Southampton North Sea landfill leaching wastewater with Clear Flow technology.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1309, authorized supervisor to sign a contract to extend disposal and recycle service for unprocessed construction and demo debris with Winter Brothers Recycle of Long Island LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1310, authorized supervisor to sign a contract to extend for traffic line striping and traffic marking with Cineco Pavement Marking, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1311, authorized supervisor to sign a contract to extend Parkline Asphalt and Maintenance, Inc. of application of crack sealer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1312, authorized supervisor to sign a contract extended for roll-off containers with Monmouth Solution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Authorized Town Board Resolution 2025-1313, authorized supervisor to sign contract to extend and supply fabric for steel aluminum welding with Pennsylvania Steel Corp., Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1314 of 2025, authorize supervisor to sign contract extension with Coastal Commercial Property Management, Inc. for irrigation maintenance and repair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1315, authorized supervisor to sign contract to extend with Spectrum Manufacturing, Inc. for closed-top self-contained inject trailer with hydraulic roof opening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And actually, I'm going to get a demonstration of how this works in the next couple of weeks. I think it's yours. Oops, sorry. It's mine. Town Board Resolution 2025-1316, co-sponsored with McMahon and Moore, authorized supervisor to sign contract to extend and furnish delivery assorted oil, lubes, grease with LubeNet Inc. LLC, West Hampton Auto Supply, and Grade A Petroleum Corp.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1317, authorized supervisor to sign contract to extend steel street sweeper parts and gutter and rear boom with Mavia Equipment Corp. and Trust, Inc.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1318, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Serifi LLC for legal education services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1319, co-sponsored with the entire board, authorize the supervisor to sign a 2026 Community Development Block Grant Project Description Forms.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1320, co-sponsored by Council Members Pell, McNamara, and Martell, to authorize the purchases of gasoline from the New York State OGS contract with Sprague Operating Resources LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1321, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract amendment with Source Path Contemporary LLC for townwide video surveillance backbone upgrades.
Second, and Madam Clerk, if you don't mind, I'll co-sponsor. Thanks.
You gotta call the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1322 of 2025, co-sponsored by the entire board, authorize the supervisor to execute a license agreement with Suffolk County Community College for use of the Eastern Campus Pool for 2026 spring lifeguard training.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1323 of 2025, co-sponsored by the entire board, authorize the supervisor to execute a license agreement with Suffolk County Community College for use of the Eastern Campus Pool for 2026 winter lifeguard training.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1324, co-sponsored with Councilmember Pell, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract amendment number 2 with Edward Wolfersdorf to assist with additional reviews of building permit plans due to loss of staff in the building division.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1325 of 2025, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Dry Stick Decal Corp., doing business as Ride-In, to provide window decals and permits.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1326, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacelli, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Easton Architects LLP for architectural and engineering services for the Tupper Boathouse.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1237, co-sponsored with council members Pell and Martell. This is to authorize the supervisor to sign a sole source contract with Eland City, Inc. for Evolus radar speed signs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1328 of 2025, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorize the supervisor to sign contract extensions with Integrity Tree Care, Inc. as primary vendor and Jackson Dodds and Company, Inc. as secondary vendor for maintenance on trails in Southampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1329, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Lawrence Indemnity Consulting Corp. for appraisal of 69 Horse Mill Lane, Watermill, New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1330 of 2025, authorize the supervisor to sign extension with Winston George, doing business as Winston Cleaning Services for public bathroom cleaning.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1331, to authorize the town comptroller to purchase the necessary property, casualty, auto, and liability insurance properties.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1332, to authorize upgrade of infrastructure of 133 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, from Source Pass Contemporary LLC using GSA and Omnia Partners contract.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1333, to award and authorize the purchase of one 2025 Ford F-350 Super Duty from Hempstead Lincoln Mercury Motors Corp. using the New York State OGS contract for vehicles Class 1 through 8 statewide.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1334, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize the supervisor to sign any and all agreements for the award of Community Preservation Fund 20% Water Quality Improvement Project funds. All water quality improvement projects proposed for the 2025 Community Preservation Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
With some good projects in that
Yes.
batch. All of them.
Got them done yet?
Town Board Resolution 2025-1335, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, to declare items surplus and authorize the disposal of vehicles.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1336, to recall and rescind Town Board Resolution Number 2025-1253, notice to bidders for vehicle fuel management system maintenance and installation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1337, to reject all bids for used Ford Transit Connect cargo van for animal control.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I did speak with Tom. He said the only dealer that submitted the bid was for a much smaller van, so he's looking into different vehicle types. I know we've been waiting for this animal control vehicle for quite a while. Town Board Resolution 2025-1338, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara. It's a resolution authorizing the supervisor to submit a grant application to the Bureau of Justice Assistance for fiscal year 25 body-worn camera policy and implementation program to support law enforcement agencies.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1339, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, a resolution authorizing the supervisor to submit a grant application to the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention fiscal year 25 strategies to support children exposed to violence.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1340, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, a 2025 notice to bidders for 4 new or used 2025 Ford Escape all-wheel drive.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1341 of 2025, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell. 2025 notice to bidders for tree clearing at plant number 3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1342 of 2025, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell. 2025 notice to bidders for water meter replacement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1343, to amend the 2025 adopted budget for the Highway Department. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1344, to amend the 2025 adopted budget for the Highway Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1345, to amend, co-sponsored by Councilman Pell, to amend the 2025 adopted budget for highway special events.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1346, to amend the 2025 adopted budget for nutrition programs.
Second, and Madam Clerk, may I be added as a co-sponsor?
Certainly.
And, with this increase, we can assist 35 additional seniors with 7 meals a week through the end of the year. And it'll be especially helpful in light of the government shutdown and the hold on the SNAP benefits. So thank you to Kara Back and Laura and our nutrition director for seeing to getting this done.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1347, to amend the 2025 adopted budget for special events.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1348, to amend the 2025 adopted budget for special events.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Town Board Resolution 2025-1349, to amend the 2025 budget for various departments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1350 of 2025, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell. Amend the 2026 preliminary capital budget for granulated activated carbon replacement at plant number 1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let me just ask, Dorothy, this was from the check that we got, right, for the settlement? Okay, thank you. Since you were here.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1351, to amend the 2026 preliminary capital budget for estimated roll-forward amounts.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1352 of 2025, co-sponsored with council members Iacilli, Martell, and Pell. Amend the 2026 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits increases.
On the motion, I just want to say that we're very fortunate to have the employees that we do have working for the town. And they're each hardworking and dedicated, and this resolution with respect to these 8 individuals should in no way be viewed as a reflection on the others. Please know that we value each and every one of our employees and your daily contributions to the town. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1353, to adopt the 2026-2030 capital program and the 2026 capital budget.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1354 to amend the 2026 preliminary budget for various charts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1355, a resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 8 budget to override the tax levy limit established by General Municipal Law, Section 3-C.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1356 to authorize increases in the maximum amount to be expended annually in the town of Southampton special districts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1357 to adopt the 2026 final operating budget.
Second, I guess, since no one else wants to do it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and I want to thank everyone for their input, everyone on the board and the department heads, but especially with Dorothy Godlewski, our comptroller, and Kathleen Galligan, the deputy comptroller, for your diligence with this massive budget. Thank you.
Thank you. You worked very hard on it.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1358, co-sponsored by the entire board, to adopt the annual CPF pilot payment plan, 2025-2026 tax year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Town Board Resolution 2025-1359, a resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 64, term limits to eliminate term limits for the zoning board and planning board members.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1360, a resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 330-163 and Chapter 330-181 to reduce the term of the zoning board and the planning board members from 7 years to 4 years.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1361, resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 312, Article 5, Section 312-24, prohibiting parking on Sunrise Avenue, Bridgehampton.
Second? Did I just second that?
You both did.
Okay, who seconded it? You did?
No, not me.
Oh, okay.
It was two lady voices.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I do want to say, it seemed like there was overwhelming support
Support,
from the community for this, and thank you, Councilmember Iacilli, for working on it and getting it done.
You worked very hard on it.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1362, co-sponsored with the entire board. This is an authorization of cost reimbursement for the Hampton Bays Fire Department Turkey Trot 5K on November 27th, 2025, from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1363, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, to authorize the extinguishment of a town-owned development right in relation to a carriage house located at 439 Hayground Road, Bridgehampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1364, co-sponsored with council members Martell and Pell, endorsed the Town of Southampton Housing Authority in its application to New York State Homes and Community Renewal for funding under the Move in New York program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1365, co-sponsored by council members McNamara and Pell, the historic landmark designation of the Nathan Topping Cook family home located at 439 Hayground Road in Bridgehampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1366, co-sponsored with the entire board. Resolution temporarily suspend transit rentals restriction during the 2026 U.S. Open Championship.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1367 of 2025, attend 6-hour academy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1368 of 2025, authorize attendance at the International Association of Chief of Police Conference.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1369 to accept the resignation of Amy Hayes, Records Management Assistant in the Town Clerk's Office.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1370 to appoint Casey Cawley to Maintenance Mechanic 1 in Community Preservation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1371 to appoint Dion Mitchell Hope to Driver Messenger in Senior Services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm going to just, for now, withdraw Town Board Resolution 2025-1372. Town Board Resolution 2025-1373, co-sponsored by the entire board, notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of 11 West Shore Drive in the hamlet of North Sea, New York, and amend the CPF priority plan and the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that'll be on November 25th. Town Board Resolution 2025-1374, co-sponsored by the entire board, a notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of 51 Beach Plum Road in the hamlet of Noyak, New York, and to amend the CPF priority plan and the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And that's November 25th. Town Board Resolution 2025-1375, co-sponsored by the entire board, schedule a notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of 87 Shore Drive in the hamlet of North Sea, New York, and to amend the CPF priority plan and the CPF management plan and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1376, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell. This is the notice of public hearing to consider the use of community housing funds for the acquisition of disability housing deed restriction.
Second.
Just on the motion, I just had a question about the second to last whereas clause on page 92. I wasn't sure if, Michael, I texted you before, but I don't know if that's in, that language is in there by accident.
Second to last, whereas pursuant to section 247.
On page 92, where it talks about work, you have to, the
30 hours.
occupant has to work 30 hours in the town and have a median income of 130%. I feel like that language might be in there from another.
Can we strike that?
If you think we should. We could either adopt it as is and then recall and amend it later, or take it
It's
out
just
now.
setting the public hearing, right?
Yeah, we're just setting the public hearing, council, so we could adopt as is?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, I'll adopt as is, and then we can
We'll
amend.
fix it if we need to.
Yeah.
If you adopt the resolution.
Okay.
That is my pleasure, and I have a second from the co-sponsor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and thank you, Michael, for your work with Kara, and love Michael to get this in front of the board.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Town Board Resolution 2025-1377, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell. This is a notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 312, changing the speed limit on 3 roads, Big Fresh Pond Road, Lakeside Drive, and Parish Road in Tuckahoe North Sea area.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And this one seems certainly justified with the traffic study that we heard about, but I know there was some concern that it might open the floodgates, but if others want similar relief, then they can all submit, and we'll look at it. So thank you, Michael, for pulling this. I know this was an old one, wasn't it?
This was an old one,
Yeah.
yeah, 23.
Did I say, did I call the vote?
Yep.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1378, co-sponsored with Councilman Izella. Resolution setting a public hearing to amend Chapter 312 Vehicle and Traffic for purpose of removing 3 Yale intersection in Hampton Bay south of Montauk Highway.
Second.
And I just, on the motion, want to say that this is, seems pretty straightforward, and, you're both sponsoring it, but we didn't have any discussion on it, so please ask Highway or
They're gonna be,
the engineer to come and just talk to us about it, and the same for the next one. All in favor?
Town Board Resolution 2025-1379, co-sponsored with Councilman Izella.
Do you want to read the title?
I have to turn the page.
Oh.
You're rushing me.
Sorry.
Resolution setting a public hearing for amend Town Code Chapter 312 Vehicle and Traffic to add 3 new stop signs in Hampton Bays, south of Montauk Highway. And
All
this-
in
We're taking
favor?
the yields out and put the stop sign.
Taking the yields out, putting the stops in. All right. All in favor? Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1380, co-sponsored by council members Martell, McNamara, and Pell. A notice of public hearing for a local law to enact a new Article 6B entitled Hotel Development Overlay within Chapter 330 of the Town Code and to add Sections 34.5 through 34.10 to enable the discretionary review of small-scale tourist accommodations in the highway business zoning districts.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And we'll just have that public hearing. It'll be on December 9th. Town Board Resolution 2025-1381, co-sponsored by the entire board to authorize the acquisition of 31 Quantuck Bay Lane in the hamlet of Quiog and to amend the CPF project plan and the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1382, co-sponsored by the entire board to authorize the acquisition of 33 Quantuck Bay Lane in the hamlet of Quiog and to amend the CPF project plan and the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-1383, co-sponsored by the entire board to authorize the acquisition of 35 Quantuck Bay Lane in the hamlet of Quiog and to amend the CPF project plan and the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1384, co-sponsored by the entire board to authorize the acquisition of 40 Redwood Road in the village of Sag Harbor and to amend the CPF project plan and the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
I have one question on this.
Yeah.
I think the whole board should second this to make any problems with the mayor. So that we're not
Why don't we just
supporting-
let you second it, Bill, so
Yeah,
that
you
you're on the
second
record?
Second it for the whole board.
And all in favor?
Aye.
So it's unanimous.
Town Board Resolution 2025-1385, co-sponsored with the entire board, authorize the acquisition of a historic preservation and conservation easement on property located at 11 Walnut Avenue in the hamlet of East Quogue and amend the community preservation project plan and the CPF management and stewardship plan to include said property.
We've been asked to table this
Motion
to
to table.
11:25.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Am I assuming we're doing the same thing with the other one, or no?
No.
Okay. Town Board Resolution 2025-1386, co-sponsored with the entire board, authorize the acquisition of a historic preservation conservation easement on property located at 149 South Country Road in the hamlet of Remsenburg, Spionk, and amend the CPF project plan and CPF management and stewardship plan to include said property.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Well, that's the last one, so. Walk-on,
keep
not
forgetting
the
them.
last one. I don't know why I didn't remember
Second
the
time
walk-ons
today.
today. Oh, okay.
Town,
This is, all right, I just want to take a minute, because I just got these. Why don't we all just take 1 minute to quickly read through and make sure that these are okay? I mean, I definitely support what's happening here. Wanted to,
which ones did we just get?
the
School meal assistance.
school meal,
No, this one's, this
$6,000.
is not new. We discussed this at the work session.
We discussed, but this is the first time everyone's seeing it. Just give her a minute.
So we're going to distribute them to the school districts that request. Okay, so we have the money, we set it aside. When the
Yeah.
schools request it, we give it to them.
I talked to you, Supervisor, about adding additional funding. We originally spoke at the work session last week about 5,000, but in my conversations with Lars Clemenson, who really has developed a very unique model that I think will be very effective at providing some of these much-needed funding and assistance to students with, student families with SNAP. There's over, just so this is in the context here, there's over 150 families that are on SNAP just in 3 school districts alone. So we'd like to add another 1,000, equating it to 6,000, so that we could at least give at least for what we are thinking we're going to get in terms of applicants, $20 for some sort of a voucher to grocery stores.
So I just have one question on this, because it says that this is authorized, it says, I'm sorry. On a first come, first served basis until such time as the sooner of either the 6,000 funds are expended or the government shutdown ends, which it sounds like it's ending as we speak, so does this still go into effect?
I'd like to, because one of the things that we discussed is that this can be a cushion for the time that some of the recipients have lost out on funding.
So my question is, should we amend this resolution to
why don't we
remove
take out
that
the words?
language?
Well, it says
Because-
or anyway. It says or anyway, right?
No, it says whichever one comes sooner, it ends. So if the government shutdown ends, this goes away.
So we could make that change
Yeah.
and take it, so Madam Clerk, I guess, strike until
sorry.
such.
What page are you on?
Page 1.
The first be, first,
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm
Be it
the
further.
walk-on. Sorry. Got it.
Can we just take that whole
Take
be
out,
it
yeah,
further
just right.
out?
The first be it further resolved, can you strike that, Madam Clerk?
No,
right after basic.
because this is distributing it proportionally.
Okay.
Maybe we just take
A first
out
time, first served basis,
Until
and then
such
take out
time.
until.
until, yeah. Until, up to,
government
as
shutdown ends.
coordinated.
Till the 6,000 funds are expended.
Until,
Until the words as coordinated, so.
But then the next be it further resolved says,
I'm
and
sorry.
shall remain in effect only for the duration of the shutdown. And SNAP benefit interruptions, we have to remove that as well.
Kim, are you getting this?
Paragraph out.
The second be it for,
Oh,
and then, no, I think.
oh
it
yeah,
should
just so take out that.
But no,
period.
have it say, be it further resolved that the use of these funds shall be limited to the provision of meals and related food assistance to students, and then remove and shall remain in effect
Yeah.
only.
Yeah. Just take that.
Okay, I don't,
I'm gonna
I'm
hand
not
it to
following
you.
this, so if you would, that would be great. I want to
Here,
get it
I
right.
have it. You can just take that.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, unless further authorized.
Right, correct?
I guess that would stay in, right?
that language.
Yeah, okay, so let me give her this.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Is the second one? Yeah,
you
there
wanna-
wasn't
you
any
wanna
changes to the
motion
second
to
one.
amend?
Oh,
Yeah, motion to adopt, motion to amend.
Second,
all in favor
Aye, and then motion to approve the amended version.
same second.
of the emergency school meal assistance for Town Board Resolution ID number 51504?
Sunday, could you add me to that?
Yeah, let's put us all on it.
So keep in mind too, that Hampton Bays alone has their own food pantry in the school. It's called Food for Thought. And they have been just overwhelmed with requests in the last week or so. So if anything, this will help replenish some of what's going on.
Some other thing that they have that a lot of people don't know about it, they have an actual, like a closet where you can get clothing, and I actually brought Lars a ginormous IKEA bag of my children's clothing that still had like really nice stuff with tags on it, so if anybody has stuff like that for teenage girls or boys, the school does take that, so.
That's nice. And for schools that don't have the food pantry, they can buy the gift cards to the supermarkets, and the social workers at the school will deliver them to the families. So that is really good. And thank you, Michael, for working on that, because I know we got when we first came up, I talked to Kara about what could we do, and she went forward and found the extra money for the seniors. But then you went the next step to find out, well, what can we do for the rest of the population that's needing it? And found out from Jamie Bowden that there was money in the Cablevision account, and that's what we're using. It's about $11,000, right?
Yeah, I want to thank Kara and her office, and also Dorota as well for their diligence through this process.
Yeah. Okay, so then, and then the next one, Town Board Resolution ID number, we didn't vote?
We did.
It's not on the amended.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
I did the same second.
Yeah, we did. We
All
did
in
the same
favor?
second, same vote.
Aye.
Town Board, okay, so,
Cindy was the
Right.
second.
Cindy was the second on which one? Bill was the second on the last one. You were the second on the first one? Thank you.
did we do both?
Yeah.
We did.
No, we
The
did,
amendment.
we did the amended.
Oh, that,
You
yeah,
did to amend, and then you did as amended.
okay. Town Board Resolution ID Number 51509 to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with the Long Island Community Foundation for Feed the Need program.
Second.
All in
Sponsored by the
favor?
entire board.
And
Aye.
sponsored by the entire board. And again, this is something, that, with the money that you located with Jamie, that we can now give to this organization, Long Island Community Foundation, and then they will distribute it to the food pantries in the area.
Yep, and I just want to also thank Rick for drawing on some of the experience of how the town board dealt with it during COVID. This was, you laid the groundwork for that, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Town Board Resolution ID Number 51520, which is the warrant, number 21.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Town Board Resolution ID Number 51533 to authorize the commencement of an enforcement action seeking injunctive and other relief against appropriate parties in Suffolk County Supreme Court relating to the use and occupancy of 1533 County Road 39, Southampton, as more particularly described on the Suffolk County tax map number as indicated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. If there's no other comments, then I move to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See the card.